Put on your favorite trench coat, poke out your eyes, replace them with little cameras. It's time to talk about Delaque. And don't forget to shave your head.
I forgot.
Hello and welcome to the Necromundown. Today we're talking about the last of the main 6 house gangs. It's the House of Shadow, our good friends, the Delaque. They're not your friends. They're nobody's friends.
Yeah, they're nobody's. They're not even their own friend necessarily.
Well, that's true of everything in Necromunda, so I guess we really shouldn't say that. Brief lore, Mitchell falls asleep. These are the spy masters and information traders of Necromunda. These leather-coated, IP-swearing bald guys are basically, they have all the information. The only industry they control is the production of a drug called Gast, which is a psycho drug that basically temporarily turns you into a psyker. This is in-game, too. Mm-hmm. Or it, unlocks psychic potential. They do control the production of that, but industries isn't really where they get their money and their control. They get it by information.
Yeah.
They know everything. They are assassins and blah, 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 blah. They're everywhere. They have eyes everywhere. Everyone on Necromunda knows that, too. So, everyone knows Delaque is where you go for stuff. What people on Necromunda don't know is the Delaque are not technically 100% human, and they're the only faction, I guess, besides Squats, that isn't. The Delaque are in service of, or possibly under the complete control of, entities called the Silent Ones. Not a ton is known about these. They're kind of like these squid-like things. Or it's maybe that the squid-like things are also in service to the Silent Ones. It's very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
They're implied to be the original denizens of Necromunda. They have kind of a low-level hive mind thing going on. So where Delaque also have that. They can communicate with each other, very basic thoughts. Mm-hmm. Called the Psychoterra, which comes up in gameplay. So that's the Delaque. So in addition to being creepy, they're also super heretical.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. This was definitely, hope the Inquisitors never find out about this. So that's the lore overview. Let's talk about the actual gang overview. What are Delaque?
They are the sneaky snakes. They basically, everything that they do in one way or another works around either their not so straightforward tactics or stealth.
Yeah.
Mainly in stealth, they have a lot of infiltrate, a lot of giving you -1 to hit, a lot of nothing purely defensive, but more in line with tricky.
Yeah.
They have interesting and potentially overpowered access to weapons, but a lot of their
but at a cost.
At a cost, because man, in a one-on-one fight, they're rough.
Yeah. Delaque are very, very glass cannon-y.
Yeah.
They have some tricks for not being able to get shot and some -1s, but overall, they're probably one of the least defensive gangs.
Yeah.
Possibly only rivaled by Escher, as far as not being able to take a punch. And they don't have nearly as many bodies as Khador. Mm-hmm. They win by not playing fair. So they have lots of access to web guns. Mm-hmm. Web guns, if you don't know how a web gun works, it's a template weapon. So it's roughly 7-inch template, so it doesn't have to roll to hit. It's a template weapon with usually very good strength, so strength 5 for a web gun, strength 4 for a web pistol. Once you hit somebody with it, they just go down. You just have to roll to wound. If you succeed that wound roll, they're under the webbed condition. That means no armor save. It doesn't technically do any damage, but when you're webbed at the end of the round, you have to roll a injury dice for anybody who is webbed. So somebody who is webbed at the end of a round has to roll an injury dice as if they're seriously injured.
Yes.
If you roll seriously injured, you stay webbed. If you roll flesh wound, you don't get a flesh wound anymore because it doesn't slowly kill you. You don't bleed out. That is the nice thing. And if you roll death, you automatically go out cold. Mm-hmm. You do always roll out cold on the lasting injury table.
Yeah. You don't roll you can't be, get your arm chopped off for being webbed.
So as far as actually killing things, web technically isn't any better than anything else. Mm-hmm. But it ignores multiple wounds. It just has a 1 in 6 chance to just out somebody. And most importantly, when you're on the ground, you can still be coup de grace.
Yep. It basically goes, you're 5 toughness and 4 wounds, and I don't care about any of that.
Right.
You're down, charge you're dead.
Yes. And that is the big thing, is they still can be coup de grace. They can still be assisted by other folks. Mm-hmm. So if someone's near you, you roll 2 of those dice and pick the one you want. Yep. You'll never bleed out, as we said. It does also increase your chance to be captured.
Yes.
Including in the new rules. There are also some Delaque things that tie into increasing that even further. Mm-hmm. And it can be countered with the use of an item, a very cheap item. I believe it's only 15 credits.
Yeah.
Called Web Solvent, which lets you roll 2 and pick one. And if you are assisting somebody and you have web solvent and they're webbed, you get to roll 3 dice,
which is ridiculous,
and pick the one you want.
Yeah.
So it is kind of, I'm not gonna say hard countered, but it is very much a little bit countered.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you though if somebody webs you and then coup de grace you in the same turn.
Yeah, you just did nothing.
So web weapons are very good. They're expensive. Delaque has them cheaper than anybody else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how they play. Another thing they have access to that no one else has in their gang roster, and only a few esoteric weapons or dramatis personae have, is the phase keyword, which is a keyword for a melee weapon that allows it to ignore armor saves. Just all armor saves, including field armor. So no conversion fields. No, it just ignores armor saves.
Just goes through everything.
Right.
Again, not playing fair.
Right. They have a lot of access to infiltrate. They also have some of the best pistol access for their basic gangers.
They had to have something there, right?
Yeah, because we'll talk about it as we get into them. Their basic gangers have access to web pistols. I mean, they're 80 credits. But they also have access to hand flamers.
Yeah.
And
I mean, hand flamers are what, 75?
Yeah. And plasma pistols on their basic gangers.
Sure.
Which lots of things do, but
I mean, making a ganger like double its credits with a heavy pistol, good pistol is.
We'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the house-specific skill, obfuscation.
Yes.
Obfuscation. Say that 10 times fast until you get it right. Obfuscation. Obfuscation.
No, well,
obfuscation. Obfuscation. Obfuscation.
You got the first one wrong.
I know. I always want to put an S there.
Obfuscate.
This is a good skill tree.
Yeah, I was surprised.
This is a very good skill tree. Orlock, be jealous.
Yeah. And Vansar and
I'd say this is one of the better ones.
yeah, it's probably second or third, I would say. I don't think it's better than oh god. Is Escher the best one?
Escher was one of the best ones we've had so far.
Yeah.
Cotter was also pretty good.
Cotter, I disagree.
It wasn't bad. It had a couple good ones.
It had a couple.
It had 2 really good ones.
Yeah.
This one has several pretty good ones.
Yeah.
Escher has probably some of the best. But anyway, Corpse Chronicles is the best one, but we don't want to talk about that yet.
So the first one we have on the obfuscation skill list is Faceless. Basically, at the start of the round, until you activate, in order to target you with anything, you have to take a willpower test. Sorry, the opponent has to take a willpower test, and that includes if a blast marker touches you, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's stronger than even like the Corpse Grinder Cult's mask, which says, make a willpower test or you can't shoot me, or can't charge me.
Yeah.
But usually people get around the Corpse Grinder masks by throwing a template weapon or a blast down.
Yeah.
Now, I should note this does not specify template weapons.
It does not. So flamers and stuff
technically
still work.
a flamer's still fine. That feels like a little bit of an oversight to me, honestly.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's so good. This is very good against certain gangs. If you have a Corpse Grinder cultist, because they don't have great willpower, Delaque Cry, Ogren Cry.
Because it's a willpower test, so it's basically everybody that's not... Who has really good willpower?
Most people have pretty decent willpower on their champions.
Sure.
The rocking 5s or 6s or 7s at the worst.
Yeah.
The exception is your Delaque and your Ogrins, who are like 8s and 9s.
I mean, we talked about this when we did Goliath, and Goliath leaders have the best at like a 7.
Yes. I mean, Hive Scum would also be bad at this, but that's not, they aren't dangerous. It's very good.
Yeah.
The best thing, it refreshes every round. It gives you a little bit of insurance against getting shot early, because even someone with a 4 of willpower could fail that check. It's not always powerful, so I'd say this is pretty mid.
Yeah.
Psi-Touched. Reroll willpower when making or resisting a psychic check. Ghast is also always available at the trading post. So Ghast is bad. Don't care about that.
Yeah, Ghast
This is,
terrible.
To my knowledge, the only willpower reroll in the game.
I think so.
Rerolls are very rare in Necromunda. They don't abuse it like they do in 40k.
Yeah.
Where they promise they won't and then do it anyway. Just one more reroll, bro. Just one more, I swear. No, this makes a Psyker really good.
Yeah.
Because it minimizes your chances of rolling Perils of the Warp. It means that, weirdly, we'll talk about this when we get there, but a Delaque leader can't take this, but a Delaque Phantom can.
Right.
So even though a Delaque leader has a 4-up willpower and a Delaque Phantom has a 5-up, 5-up with rerolls is better than a 4-up without.
Yes. This has the potential to make Delaque Psychers some of the best in the game.
Yes. We'll get to the downside of that when we talk about their psychic
will.
powers, but this is very, very good. If you're doing psychic. Otherwise, it's of course completely useless.
Yeah. Next we have takedown. Enemy fighters taken out by out of action are captured on a 4-up, which is really good considering the new captured rules.
Yes, capturing is much rarer.
Yes,
than it used to be.
It's 2 on D66.
Yes,
and now this is a 50-50.
Yes. Now it does specify, because in previous rules you could only ever capture one fighter.
Yes,
I have not poured through the rulebook to see if that's still the case or not.
I believe so.
I believe it is. But you can still only capture one person like this, so you can't ping pong around your opponent's team and just capture everybody. But putting this on an offensive character who's taking people out of action, so probably not a web gun, but plasma gun, long rifle, knocked ghoul. We'll get to that.
Honestly, when I read this, I could not believe it was. I wasn't only on melee attacks.
Yeah, like every time you take someone down, you just have a 50% chance to capture them. That's really good.
That's really strong.
It's good credit generation.
Yeah, yeah.
The only problem is that this is a purely credit generating skill. It does not help you actually take anybody down or not get taken down yourself.
Right. It's kind of a feels bad when you're like, I'm gonna capture that guy, and if you want him back, you gotta give me money.
It's Necromunda, though.
I know it's Necromunda, especially if like in Delaque where you're not playing fair.
And we'll talk more about the Delaque and feels bad thing at the end, because you have to walk a line with that. But because you're mine, I walk the line. Rumor monger. Post-battle action. On a past intelligence check, increase your gang's rep by D3 and reduce the enemy's gang's rep by the same amount. First off, it's a post-battle action, so it conflicts with going to trading post or doctor on that same champion.
So bad.
And there are times when you want more rep. If your build really wants certain hanger-on or this is bad. Overall, this is not great.
Yeah, it's got too many check marks, and it's a skill. It's a post-battle action. It deals with rep. It's okay.
Yeah.
The next one is Fake Out, which is also okay. You roll 3d6 and discard 1 when determining scenario.
The problem is that there exists the Whisper Merchant hanger-on, which we'll talk about. Take a drink. And the Whisper Merchant, it can do the same thing better.
Yeah.
And isn't amazing in other ways.
Yeah, so it's...
And then last, but not least, Doppelganger. Enemy gang leader makes an intelligence check. If they fail, you can add 1 fighter to your starting crew. Most enemy leaders have decent intelligence, unless Ogrins or Goliath.
Yeah.
And this is... The Whisper Merchant can also do this, and it's way better.
Yeah, that's the problem, is they were like, look at all these cool things you can do. Or there's this guy that can do it for you.
I mean, he can't technically... He doesn't technically... He can just make sure you get the highest random roll. He can't add one to your thing. I just don't like relying on an enemy leader to fail an intelligence check for something to happen.
Yeah, like relying on your opponents for like an ability to do literally anything feels kind of bad.
Yeah. So then we get to the house mechanic, which is Psychoteric Whispers.
They're the only ones that have psychic just kind of baked in.
Yes, this is the most psychic gang.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's downsides to that.
Yeah.
So Psychoteric Whispers are functionally weird powers. They work exactly the same. Any of your leaders or champs can upgrade to have these powers for an additional 30 credits at creation, or they can spend 7 experience points to get it as an advancement, which increases your value by 30 credits. They grant the unsanctioned Psyker rule as well, which, keep in mind, what that means is if your opponent takes that guy out of action, whether or not they capture, they get D3 times 10 credits. And if they do capture them and they're sold, they're worth their full value.
So getting them back is going to be harder.
Zeitgeists start with this automatically. They're the only ones who do, so it's baked into their cost. Here's the weirdness. The language is odd because it says a Delaque Psyker must pick one of the Delaque weird powers. Unfortunately, this does not jive with Book of the Outcast. They did FAQ this, by the way, so this is canon. Sorry, it's a canon event.
It's a canon event.
A Delaque Psyker has to pick one of the Delaque trees and a Delaque power first before it can pick any of that stuff from the Book of the Outcast. You can then pick one of those things from the Book of the Outcast as an advancement, but you cannot pick one of those to start, which makes sense narratively.
It does.
Because the Delaque are not just Psykers. They are getting their Psykers through exposure to the Psychoterra, which is this weird alien hive-mind intelligence thing. Like, it kind of makes sense that their psychic powers only work via this.
Yeah.
So that does mean you will never get any of the purity bonuses from the Outcast stuff.
Yeah, so it kind of makes sense that they took the most psychic gang and then introduced, 9 psychic trees and went, whoa, wait, hold on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Slow down a little bit.
And it also makes sense because the only cost of this is 30 credits.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most psychic access any gang can get.
Yep.
And unlike Book of the Outcasts, where you can make a psychic gang, your champions don't have willpower 8.
Yeah.
So you won't have trouble getting these powers off. The problem is getting these powers in range.
Oh, I was going to say getting these powers to work because they're kind of bad.
There's a few of them that are very good.
There's a few that are okay. I read them all.
The problem is that the most any of these have is like range 3.
There are a few that are like range 10 or 12. But they're not great.
Because narratively, what these are is the Delaque whispering eldritch things like at you.
Yeah.
So it only affects you if you can hear them.
I didn't even think about that.
Right.
That's so dumb. But yeah, they're whispers.
It's literally them whispering things in your ear to make your brain not work.
They look at you and they go.
Yeah, basically.
Actually, they don't even have to look at you.
You're so fine. You're so fine.
Most of the time, they don't even have to look at you. The line of sight's not required. You just have to hear them.
Right, yeah, which makes sense. Yeah. There's also a mechanic called a Psychoteric Choir.
Mm-hmm. Which is the best thing about these guys.
Yes. When a friendly Delaque Psyker uses a Psychoteric Whisper, each friendly Delaque who is standing and not engaged within 3 inches of the Whisperer increases the range of the Whisper by 1 inch to a maximum of 3 inches. Mm-hmm. And they also make the intelligence check to resist it harder by 1 to a max of 3.
I don't think either of those should have maxes. I think you should just have one big clump of Delaque.
You should be able to play telephone.
Yes.
Down the line. Yeah, these are super, super short range. Mm-hmm. And increasing by 3 inches, and then you're looking at 6 inches for some of the powerful ones, which is more tenable.
It is.
But a lot of these, the problem is if somebody's within 3 inches of you, why aren't they dead?
Yes. And if you're like moving to get in range, then you have to have guys there already to increase your range.
Yes.
It can be hard.
2 ways around this. The Psygeist can get a exotic beast that basically acts as a node. Mm-hmm. It just has to be within 12 inches of you. And then you measure from there.
Certainly doable.
Yes. And then there's also a hanger-on that anyone can use for 90 credits that functionally does the same thing. He's a node of 12 inches away.
Yeah.
Those are almost mandatory if you really want to use these.
I agree.
There's 3 trees, Madness, Delusion, and Darkness. And I didn't write down all of them because most of them are not great, but I picked a few of the ones I liked from there.
Sure.
So my favorites from Madness. Terrible Truths. It's a basic action. Mm-hmm. Enemy within 3 inches makes an intelligence test. If they fail, they are insane.
This one, I completely understand why it is the 3-inch range.
Yeah. It also doesn't require line of sight.
Nope.
A lot of gangers have bad intelligence.
Yes. And you can make the target number harder with guys nearby, so you can make it, intelligence -3?
Yes, which is very, very hard, and then you're just insane. And remember, insanity is bad.
It is terrible.
Very, very bad. This, obviously, if you combine this with that hanger-on, which we'll talk about, the Psychoteric Thrall, then you're talking 15-inch range.
Yeah.
15-inch range, no line of sight required. Hello.
Yeah, that's
pretty good. Psychotic Lure. A basic enemy fighter within 3 inches with a ready marker has to be activated next by the opposing player with no group activation. No line of sight required, no intelligence check required. Mm-hmm. This is niche, but sometimes forcing someone to go next with somebody that they really didn't want to go next with can save your bacon.
Yes. The forced activations or making your opponent do stuff is really, really, really rare.
Yes.
That one I can also understand being a very short range, but sometimes you just your guy has a giant chain axe and he's going to kill me if he goes next. And
right. That is
normally the guy that's right next to you wants to go first anyway.
Right. And that is the thing about Delaque to remember is that with the exception of the Noctghoul, who, if you're within 3 inches of them,
run.
But Delaque, remember, are not super great necessarily in a straight-up fight. Now, they do have web guns, and they do have plasma guns, and they have decent melee weapons.
Yeah.
So often, sometimes the answer to the question of why aren't they dead yet is because I can't.
Yeah, it's hard. I could see going, shoot you with a gun, pin you, and then say go next, and then you're just like, well, I can't really do anything. The next one is
Cyclopean
Gaze. It is a double action. Choose an enemy fighter within 1 inch with a ready marker, and it loses the ready marker. No intelligence check required. Technically, you don't need line of sight, but you're within an inch.
Unless the thrall.
Yep, that's true. Well, you still have to be within an inch of the thrall.
No, the thrall has to be within an inch of them.
Yeah. I mean, the enemy has to be within an inch.
Right, yeah. But who cares about the thrall?
Like, yeah. Or like you could make it 3 inches with the choir. It's whatever. Ridiculously strong if you get it to work.
Sort of, because it is double.
It's a double
you're
action.
trading 1-to-1 your action for theirs.
That's true.
So your action economy hasn't gone up.
But you could be not dead.
You could be not dead, or you could just ruin somebody's game plan.
Yeah.
Or just if maybe it's somebody who has some kind of thing that you can't get around. Mm-hmm. Like they have, it's somebody with toughness 5, and they've got all the armor. They've got a 2-up armor save, and you need to get rid of them this turn because they've got an artifact or whatever, and you want it.
It should be noted that it is within 1 inch, and unless you're in combat, you can't get within an inch of an enemy. So you have to have the choir or be in combat.
Yes.
That's a problem.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
This one is honestly probably best on the not the hanger-on, the psychic,
the Psygeist?
Yeah, the Psygeist, because he is way less useful than anything he's going to make stop doing things.
Yes, this is true.
So if he has the little worm and he's like, please stop. That's, you know what? Sign me up.
Just hits you with the worm. Slap. Last one for Madness is Unrememberable Utterance. It's a simple action. It's continuous. Enemies who activate within 3 inches of the fighter can only perform 1 action. It shuts down charges or aiming if you can project it to 12 inches away from you. Like a hanger-on that just shuts down charges within 3 inches of him in a bubble.
That's certainly something.
It's niche, but,
I could see it being, again, very useful on the Psygeist because you can do it off the worm.
Yes.
And the worm just, like, moving up and going aura, you can only get 1 action. Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't charge the worm. You can shoot it and see if it dies, but
if you're shooting the worm and seeing if it dies, you're not shooting something more important.
Yeah, I agree. That's not terrible. The next one is Delusion.
The Delusion Tree.
Delusion Tree. Spatial Psychosis is simple action. Enemy fighter within 12 that is standing and engaged, which means you can go out to 15 inches with the choir or, 24 with a help, becomes standing and engaged. Within 12 inches that is standing and engaged becomes pinned. So it's basically like shooting them.
Yeah.
Can cause them to fall off a ledge
yes,
if they're
by a ledge.
Unlucky enough to fall off a
You can
ledge.
eat them off of it.
No line of sight, no intelligence check. They just become pinned. There is a very similar one in the Book of the Outcasts. I rated that one fine. Mm-hmm. It's not terrible, but it's not great. But a 12-inch range is the best in the book.
Yep.
So.
And simple does mean you can do it twice.
That's true.
And there are times when pinning an opponent, as we'll talk about with the Spiker hanger-on, is really good.
Yes.
A corpse grinder? Colt? Get down. Pinned. Oh, there's 2 of them? You.
Yeah, and the fact that it's not an attack means that you can do it through the mask.
Uh-huh.
You're just like, well, normally I would have to take a test to shoot you, so instead just get on the floor.
Yeah.
Get on the floor, walk the dinosaurs.
You could say that shooting someone does the same thing, but sometimes they're going to be in cover or out of your line of sight.
So it could be easier to just make the check. Make the willpower check.
Yeah. Ghost and Shadow is a basic. You choose an enemy fighter within 10 inches and change their facing.
Again, so this one is a shorter range than the previous one, and I think less useful.
Absolutely. This is super niche because the only times I can think of this are sentries.
Yep, sentries.
Which Delaque already excel at.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to do that so someone else can stab them in the back with a backstab weapon.
Yeah, so you can be like, look over there.
Yes. Or get the reaction attacks for -1.
Yeah, I would probably just rather get the backstab. Or I guess a combination. If you don't kill them with the backstab.
Both, yeah.
Still really not great.
No, it's not good, but it's the fact that I picked that one on here should tell you about the quality of this tree.
Yeah. Next we have Suicidal Embrace. Basic action. Enemy fighter within 3 makes intelligence check. If you fail, resolve a single close combat attack against themselves with a melee weapon they have, randomized if they have multiple. It auto hits, but still has to roll to win. This is hilarious. This is my favorite one in this tree. Yeah. Stop hitting yourself. You just like send brain whispers at them and they must hit themselves with a sword. Yeah, I love that.
It does require them to fail the intelligence check, but against the really scary melee gangs, that's pretty guy. Like, a Goliath with a renderizer hates this.
Goliath with a renderizer, any Ogren in the whole game.
Corpse Grinder cults don't have great intelligence tests. I mean, he's just going to take that power saw and just kind of put it on his face. And it auto hits, too.
Yeah.
So if they're rocking like a, strength 8 buzzsaw weapon and they just turn it to their face.
Yeah. Auto hits, 2 to wound, no armor, get him.
Yeah. And this does require 3 inches, but you know what? If you don't have good melee and they do, this is better than charging and punching them.
Definitely. I'd walk up and do this all day.
It's also a basic, so you could try and shoot them first.
Yeah.
Last one is the Darkness tree, which is probably the worst tree. In fact, there's only one thing on here that I picked that is worth using.
I looked at your notes and I was like, that can't be right. There's got to be better ones.
Hello, Darkness, my not very good friend at all.
Yeah, and this one's not even that good.
No, it's Cacophony of Silence. It's a double. It's continuous. Enemy within 5 inches must reroll successful hits for ranged attacks.
Only ranged attacks.
Yeah, this is one where you're fighting Van Sar, and you put that worm. I mean, 5-inch bubble's pretty big. That's a 10-inch bubble.
That's true. But if you're fighting Van Sar, rerolling successful hits is like, okay, well, I need a 2 twice now.
But sometimes it works. Sometimes it works.
I do not like it.
No, it's
Darkness
not very
is
good.
The worst one.
And that's it for the Psychoteric Whispers. Now, if we missed one that you think has a lot of potential, let us know below. And while you're down there, hit the like button, please.
If Darkness is your favorite tree, why?
Tell me in the comments.
Where did they hurt you?
Hey, we don't shame around here.
Okay.
We now move on to the models and their stats, starting with the Master of Shadow. This is your leader.
They really love their dramatic titles.
Oh, absolutely. These are Delaque are the theater nerds of Necromunda. You just
are.
know that every single one of these guys is waiting to start just spitting some Sondheim out there.
Yeah, you went even deeper than I was going to go.
Your Master of Shadow is your leader. He's 100 credits on the nose, and he's a very generalist leader.
Yeah.
He's got a 5-inch movement, 3 up weapons, 3 up ballistics, strength 3, toughness 3, 2 wounds, 3 up initiative, which is decent, 2 attacks, 6s across the board for mental stats, except for a 5 of willpower,
which is better.
He's not a great at anything, technically. He doesn't have as many wounds as Orlok. He doesn't have as many attacks as Escher, and he's not as tough as Goliath or as strong. And I mean, he's kind of, I guess, most comparable to Cawdor, honestly.
Yeah. Very middle of the road. I honestly think you should be less than 100 credits, considering the fact that you will almost always give him Psychic to make him 30 credits higher.
You can spend 30 credits to make him Psychic.
Yep.
The reason I think he's 100 credits is a couple reasons. Number one, he comes with one of the best skill trees in the game, which is Cunning.
Yes.
He gets access to Agility, Cunning, and, of course, Leadership. Agility has some good skills in its tree. Dodge, which is an avoiding attack on a 6 on a d6. You roll it after the armor save.
Yeah.
Spring Up is for pinning mitigation, because you just pass an initiative check to, chump a wumble your way up.
And, I mean, even a 3-up is pretty good. It's not the 2-up of Escher. But...
No. Clamber lets you climb. Sprint is if you just need to Neum. But really, he's got Cunning, and he's got Overwatch and Infiltrate. 2 of the scariest things in the game.
Yep.
Infiltrate is always scary, and Overwatch is scary if you have a long-range weapon, which he does have access to, the long rifle.
He does.
Overall, he's well-rounded. He's got 5 of willpower, so if you want to make this guy your Psyker, you absolutely can for only 30 credits. He doesn't have great melee, but the Web Gauntlet is good.
Web Gauntlet's very strong.
It's basically a web melee weapon with backstab, and it's 35 credits.
Yeah. I think it's only strength 3, though.
It is only strength 3. That's why it has the backstab.
So it's harder to wound, but you get more attacks, and, but you can just immediately coup de grace somebody.
Yes. And I don't like this guy as a melee person at all, really. He's got good pistol access, but he's also got access to all the juicy special weapons in the game. That is the one thing. Delaque don't do heavy. They do special.
Yes.
Because he's got access to the long rifle, or the plasma gun, or the web gun, or the grav gun, or the melta, or the flamer. You will never take the flamer when the web gun exists.
No, yeah, why would you ever do that?
It's only 115 credits for Delaque, the web gun is, and the flamer's what, 140?
Yeah, 140.
Yeah, don't bother. I personally like building mine as kind of a close range support infiltrator dude, but you could pop Overwatch and a long rifle on him.
That's what I would do.
And just ping people from long range.
Every single time I see this guy with pistols, he either dies, runs away, or runs out of ammo. Those are the 3 options.
Yeah, I don't like giving him a pistol. Not really. I don't really like him as that kind of close range.
Yeah, I would much rather him be way in the back doing support stuff and shooting people.
Speaking of shooting people.
Next we have your Phantom, the basic champion at 85 credits.
Played by Billy Zane.
Does he play something in a Phantom?
Oh, you've never seen the Billy Zane Phantom?
No.
So Billy Zane tried to be a superhero. It's called the Phantom.
God.
It
Okay.
was in a purple outfit. It was bad.
Hang on. Put it right over my face.
Yes.
Okay. Very, very similar stats wise. Movement 5, willpower. Weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, which is pretty good for a champion.
Yeah, he is a generalist champion.
Strength 3, toughness 3, normal. 2 wounds, 4 up initiative, 2 attacks, 7 on your leadership, and 6 on your cool willpower and intelligence. Pretty generalist, not bad at anything, but not great at anything.
Again, not as many attacks as a dedicated melee champion. Technically better than like an Orlok champion, though, because just as many wounds, just as many attacks, better weapon skill.
One of the interesting things about this guy is that normally, in the general's term, the skill tree specific to the faction is only available to the specialized champion. It is available to the normal champion here because the normal champion is the Psyker. So you could put Obfuscation on it, which has some pretty good stuff in it.
He's also got Cunning and Savant.
Also still has Cunning, which is very stupid.
I mean, again, Infiltrate and Overwatch.
Yep.
See above, I wrote in my notes. Savant is credit generation.
Yep.
But also Munitioneer.
Savant has some decent stuff. Like, if you're struggling to find something, Savant has something you can go for. And yeah, very similar loadout. It's basically one step below the leader at basically everything, except it has Obfuscation, which means it could be better at Psychic.
Yeah.
Because it can take the reroll your willpower tests.
It's also the closest you're going to get to a defensive skill and something like Faceless to stop you from getting shot.
True.
And then we get to the real juice
Yeah.
of this book, which is the Noctghoul, the champion. He's 110 credits, making him, to my mind, to my mark at least, the only champion who is more expensive than its leader at default.
You might be right.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong on that one. I'm thinking I'm wrong on that one. Anyway, so he has a glorious 6-inch movement as opposed to 5. 2 up weapon skill, 3 up ballistic skill that you will never use. Strength 4, toughness 3, 2 wounds. Initiative 2, 2 attacks, which doesn't sound good, but wait for it. 7 leadership, 6 cool, 6 willpower, 7 intelligence. He's the dumbest guy in this gang.
At 7 is pretty good.
Sorry, except for the flipping,
oh, yeah.
juvies, but those aren't people. So he has the agility and the cunning tree.
Yep, which we already talked about a little bit.
You will give this guy spring up in the agility tree.
Yep.
That is what you give him.
That's why he has a 2-up initiative.
Maybe dodge.
Yeah.
If you're not worried about getting shot. He has built-in infiltrate, and it's actually better than normal infiltrate. It's only 6 inches.
Yeah.
So you don't give him infiltrate. It's literally useless.
Yep.
In fact, arbitrators, I would say that if somehow a Noctghoul ever randomly rolls infiltrate, you allow him to re-roll it because
he infiltrates twice.
Yes. Nothing personnel, kid. This is your melee monster champion.
Yep.
And for my money, one of the most effective melee monsters champions in the game.
Again, he is the glass cannon type.
Yes.
He is squishy, but he will basically annihilate anything he touches.
So 6-inch movement off the bat, very strong. He's got 2 of weapon skill, very strong. Not as many attacks as other melee monsters in other houses, because he's only got 2. But that's deceptive, because he has 2 weapon options. He's got the Serpent's Fangs and the Shiver Sword. The Serpent's Fangs is 90 credits. For 90 credits, you get paired. So strength plus 2. So strength 6. That's going to beat all the important breakpoints.
Yep.
Even means you're even wounding Ridge Haulers on 5s.
Yeah, it's true.
Strength plus 2. Paired. And what does paired do?
When you charge, in addition to your charge dice,
And in addition to counting as dual wielding,
you get double your attacks profile.
yeah. So as long as you're the one charging, which you have to be with this guy anyway, because he is made of tissue paper, you get so many more attacks than even your Goliath Zerkers.
Yep. Default with nothing added, you get 6 attacks on the charge.
Yes. And the Serpent's Fangs also has, because that's not enough, Phase, which it just ignores all armors.
Yep, ignores your armor entirely.
And Rending, which just does more damage if you manage to roll 6 to wound.
It's 90 credits for a reason. It's really strong.
The other option is the Shiver Sword, which is only strength plus 1, so strength 5. It's only AP 1. It does have parry, though.
Yeah,
And
it's the more defensive one.
and power, and Sever.
Which is also very strong.
Sever is the one where if you do any damage, you roll any dice, you just kill them.
Yep.
It is also +1 to hit, which doesn't matter unless they have some kind of malice against you.
Right.
So both are 1 damage. They're not too far off from each other. Oh, the Shiver Sword is also 70 credits, so it's 20 credits less.
Yeah.
But for 20 credits more, you get paired and phase, which scales way better into the late game when everybody's rocking 2-ups or 3-ups.
Yes. So what it's supposed to be is the Serpent's Fangs have more attacks, but can't kind of level up because of the power and the sever. Whereas the Shiver Sword is way less attacks, a little more defensive, but if you get any through, they're dead. So I could see both ways, but the fact that the Serpent's Fangs is strength 6 and 6 attacks is just so good.
Yeah.
The waste of the +1 to hit on the Shiver Sword really sucks.
Yeah, there are times when it will come up.
Yeah.
You can also pair the Shiver Sword with a pistol. You cannot do that with Serpent's Fangs.
Because Serpent's Fangs are paired, period.
Yes. So Shiver is more flexible and more defensive.
Yeah.
I personally prefer the Serpent's Fangs, but you really can't go wrong with either of these.
I mean, technically, if you got the credits, you can dual wield the Shiver Swords.
You could. You could.
You get 1 extra attack for dual wielding, and you get to parry twice.
Yeah, that is true. Very defensive.
Yeah.
If I was going to do that, I would just spend the...
Yeah, for 140 credits, I would rather just...
Yeah. If I'm putting anything on him, if I'm taking the Shiver Sword, I'm putting a web pistol on him just to be a complete knob.
Yeah. Oh no, there he is. Get him. Oh no, run away.
Yeah. So this is he is a glass cannon. There is nothing defensive in here, especially against ranged.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can parry something, woohoo.
You could dodge.
It won't save you.
It won't save you.
No. But this guy pops up 6 inches and blends something.
If anything charges that and doesn't kill it, it's dead.
I'm in danger.
So, if anything charges it, it's planning on killing it.
Yes.
Next, we have your basic ganger at 40 credits. It is the Ghost. Pretty average stats across the board. Movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, 4 up initiative, 7 on your leadership, willpower, and intelligence, and a 6 on your cool. They have some... the fact that your ganger has access to cunning as a primary, obviously once you get to that point, is very good.
You could luck into overwatching your ganger.
You can, or you can get your specialist to do that because the specialist does get to pick.
Yes.
So you can have your specialist with a sniper, have multiple snipers with Overwatch. Bam, bam, bam.
Yep. The specialist has some of the best special weapon options in the game.
Yep.
He has all the good ones. He's got a long rifle. He's got a web gun. He's got a flamer you won't use. He's got a multi-gun, plasma gun.
Does he have a grenade launcher?
He does not have a grenade launcher. That is the one thing about Delaque. They do not have grenade launchers on their house list. It is not subtle enough.
Yeah.
Apparently a multi-gun is, but
it's fine.
no grenade launchers, which as champions of the grenade launcher,
yeah,
we this is a hole in the problem. But honestly, you can't go wrong here. If you want to go pricey, you give him a web gun and have him be terrifying. If you want to go cheap, you give him a long rifle. And yeah, he's got 4 ballistic skill, but
aiming,
long rifle's
long
+1.
range.
Yeah.
Put a scope on it, call it good.
The one problem with the Lot Ghost is they have bad basic weapons.
Yeah.
They have nothing good in their basic. The best they have is the shotgun.
Which is...
Shotguns, las guns, auto guns.
las guns are good, but...
They're fine. I personally like shotguns and las guns for them because they can be upgraded later.
Yeah.
The shotgun is fine early in the campaign when people don't have a lot of armor. And you can give it executioner rounds later, which are quite good.
Yeah.
And the las gun can get a hot shot pack, making it last longer into the campaign.
Right.
And they do also have really good pistol options.
You don't roll your eyes whenever you accidentally roll a ganger on a random roll.
Right.
It's like, I have to take this guy.
Yes.
If you upgrade him later.
You do roll your eyes and you get a juvie, though, which is the Shadow.
Yes.
He's only 15 credits less, so he's 25 credits as opposed to 40. And for that, he has 1 more movement at 6, 5 up weapons and ballistic skill, 3s and 3s for strength and toughness, 1 wound, 3 up initiative, 1 attack, and awful mental stats, except for 7 up cool, which for a juvie is not bad.
Yeah.
Because it is often the death of the juvie is breaking, right? They only have cunning in their skill set. It also says they can't ever get skills, although...
that has also been errated.
They did errata that?
Yeah,
okay, good.
They just straight up removed it from the card.
Good, because that was them and one other gang. We've always played it like we could. They're meat shields.
Yep.
If you want to spend credits on them, like late campaign, you can give them a web pistol.
Yep. Yeah, they're really bad. Although I am comparing them to like Kodor juvies.
Yeah.
And they're about the same for only 5 credits more with a little better cool.
Yeah, it's just that shadows ghosts are only 15 credits more and
That's
really good for a normal ganger.
Yeah, they're meh.
Yep. You bring these guys if you don't quite have enough credits for a ghost.
Yep.
Which is fine. That's what juvies are for. Then we get to the weird one, the prospect.
The Psygeist is 60 credits. Has some interesting stats. A movement of 6, willpower. I keep saying willpower first. Weapon skill of a 4. A ballistic skill 5, which is strength and toughness 3. 1 wound, 1 attack. 3 up initiative. Leadership 9. Cool 7.
Yeah, same bad mental stats as a juvie.
Well, the problem is it has a willpower of 8.
Yeah.
And an intelligence of 8, which is... But being a dedicated psyker with a willpower of 8 is...
So, that's the problem, is he comes with Psychoteric Whispers built in.
Yeah, so he's 60 credits,
yes.
And 30 of that is Psychoteric Whispers.
Yeah, and he's got the Cunning tree.
Certainly a juvie.
Yeah. 8 up willpower to start. Let me tell you, as somebody who played that with my most recent Outcast gang, sucks.
Yeah, sometimes I wish that the choir, rather than making your opponents check less, it would make your willpower better.
Yeah.
But then it would be like, oh, I have a 1-up willpower on my leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can, instead of being able to buy the ability to be a psyker at start, he can buy more whispers.
Sure.
For 30 credits, which you won't do.
Nope.
Luckily, willpower is a cheap advancement.
It is.
It's one of the cheapest, only 3. And because he's a juvie, he can just...
just do it over and over again.
He can, he's the only one who can purchase a Psychoteric Worm, which is an exotic beast. We'll talk a little bit about that later.
Yep.
But mostly we'll talk about it now because he's the only one who can take it. It's an exotic beast. It's, 70 credits? Yeah, 70 credits. 12-inch leash that can move through walls.
Yeah, because it goes...
Act as the node from which the weird powers are cast. So you could use this guy to cast a psychic power through a wall on an 8 up, and then it doesn't go off because you tried to roll an 8.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have access to the obfuscation skills, so you can't even get the rerolls.
Nope.
If you do get to that point, he's
his weapon options are bad. Like capital B bad. Like this is one of the smallest lists in the game.
Yeah.
But
again, he's meant to be a psyker.
But he does have the Psychomancer's Harness, which is 110 credits. It adds 2 inches of movement. So movement 8. It allows free climbing, basically clamber. And it equips paired Psychomantic Claws, which are 3-inch versatile, strength +1, paired phase, and shock.
So he turns into Doc Ock.
Yes. Dr. Octagonopus Bois. Right. So let's talk about Psygeists a little, because they're weird.
They're so strange.
There's 2 ways you can play them.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I don't know if this is intended or not. You can play them as weird usage, so using their powers, in which case they're bad because they have an 8 of willpower and they need advancements. Or you can play them as a melee character, in which case they only have 1 attack, 1 wound, toughness 3, and that costs 170 credits. The weird, you can make it work once you get an advancement or 2.
Yeah.
If you just play him as an expensive normal juvie for a bit and have him doing coup de grace and just surviving missions and getting...
So getting one of these guys late in a campaign or even midway is bad because they don't have the experience to level up their stuff. They're going to fall way behind. You want to get one of these guys early and put some thought into them.
Alternatively... and of course, he's the only one who can buy the Psychoteric Worm to increase his range, which you kind of really need. Alternatively, making him melee. It costs, I wrote 150 there, that's wrong. It's 170. It's 170 credits to make them good at melee. 1 attack is bad, but it does have paired.
It does.
So that's actually 4 attacks, right?
So it's 1 base, doubled, +1 for dual wielding, 4.
4 attacks. 4 attacks is not bad.
It's not terrible.
4 attacks, strength 4. With phase.
Yep, so no armor, AP a billion.
More importantly, 3-inch versatile.
Yes.
Which is 8-inch.
Speed 8 with a 3-inch versatile.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Speed 8 with 3-inch versatile is terrifying.
So he's not going to kill a champion, necessarily. He could, it's possible.
With 4 attacks and strength 4s? Not at 4-up weapon skill, no.
Yeah. But he'll absolutely shred, gangers, juvies.
And once you get him some advancements in weapon skill, once you're hitting on 3s and 2s with 4 attacks, even with strength 4, which is not great, but phase does a lot of work.
Phase does a lot of work.
And shock helps you get those strength 4 things through.
Yeah.
Those are punch up keywords, right? 3-inch versatile is fantastic. It's 50 credits less than a Noctghoul with Serpent's Fang, I think.
Because the Noctghoul is 110, Serpent's Fang is 90.
Sorry, 30 credits less.
30 credits less.
Than a Noctghoul with Serpent's Fangs. In exchange, you lose Infiltrate, you lose the free skill, and you lose the stats, but you get 2 inches extra movement with Verticality Shenanigans, and you get 3-inch versatile.
And you technically get a psychic power.
Right.
That you can use other stuff.
Or just not bother with.
Or just ignore.
So for 30 credits less, when you look at it that way, that is a trade-off.
It's a baby Noctghoul.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if you get one later into the game, that's what you use them for.
Yeah.
Use them as a baby Noctghoul.
Ignore the psychic.
I think at game start, just spend the extra 30 credits for a Noctghoul.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you get them later, this is also something you could make him a Psyker early and then later give him the Psychomantic harness to make him, like, don't charge me or I murder you.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as bad as he looks at first glance.
Yeah.
He is weird, but I think this is a very playable, very interesting prospect. But it's not good.
It's not good.
But most prospects aren't.
We've seen better and worse, which is something.
Yes. I mean, and I think the only better one we've seen is the Orlok.
Say Orlok right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Or I don't know if I agree with that.
Most of the prospects are so bad, though.
No.
Oh, no, sorry. Vansar.
Yeah, the Vansar.
Vansar is also better than this. It goes Orlok, Vansar, Escher, Goliath, and I would put this right in the middle.
Yeah, that's fair.
Out of the prospects, because we're not counting Khador.
Yeah, Khador doesn't technically have one.
Well, they do. It's just a vehicle only. No, out of the prospects, I would rate this 3rd out of 5.
Yeah, fair.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
but it is weird. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Hangers on, brutes, pets, and vehicles. First off, vehicles. They don't have one. That's it for this. No, I'm kidding.
They illogically, they are the only ones in the whole Ash Waste update that didn't get a vehicle or an Ash Waste only thing or any. They got a crew.
They do have a vehicle crew.
They got a crew,
and they do have a house list. They do also have tactics cards, which are hilarious.
I'm gonna be real with you. I have not read any of those.
They're really fun. There's some stupid things. One of them's a teleport
on a vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You just Tokyo drift into.
But like, why didn't they at least get, like, I don't know, a floating eyeball? That's what I'm.
Don't forget to wash the walking eye.
I don't know. That's just, it's so confusing.
No, they didn't get. We ain't found. Yeah, nothing. They didn't get anything for Ash Wastes. But oh well, such is life. Sucks to suck. But what they didn't get way before that is their pets. We want to start with the cephalopod Spector.
Spector is 100 credits, which is about normal for a pet. A movement of 5, weapon skill of 4, ballistic skill of 5, which is whatever. A strength of 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 3 up initiative, 1 attack, leadership 7, cool 5, willpower 8, and a intelligence of 4. It's like smarter than anything in the whole, because like debatably the leader. I don't like your first. he wrote, "You're a kid now. You're a squid now.
You're a kid now. You're a squid now." You didn't like Splatoon?
I've never played Splatoon.
Okay, well, you're not gonna like what we say later.
I'm not. It is okay. Improves your intelligence checks and has a chance to spot enemy as sentry.
This is bad.
Super unbelievably
This is not
niche.
okay. This is bad. For 100 credits, this thing does nothing. It's got negligible melee.
Yeah,
Wow, improving intelligence checks for your Delaque is so important for all those doors you're going to open.
Yeah. If it was willpower check,
but
I would say maybe.
But it's not.
But it's not.
No, this thing is so bad. This is really bad. Slightly better to Psychoteric Worm. We already talked about this.
Yeah.
It's got mediocre melee that you will never use. It's a node that can move through walls and doesn't require line of sight to cast your powers through for 12 inches.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. It's 70 credits.
Honestly, if these two had been swapped, I would be okay with it, price-wise.
Maybe, but I don't know. Given what the Zeitgeist, I think I said Noctghoul. Given what the Zeitgeist is, 70 credits is still a lot.
That's true.
For improving that.
It's literally over double.
Yeah, like it's costed to go with the Zeitgeist.
Yeah. Oh, this one's a long one.
I'll do this one. Hangers on, because I got a lot to say about this one. This is your Psychoteric Thrall. So this doesn't have a model, and it's interesting because it actually encourages you to be creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's 90 credits. He's got bad stats, 6-inch movement, 5 up weapons and ballistic skill, and then everything else is just utterly average. Strength 3, toughness 3, 8 cool, 7 of willpower, intelligence, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is that he can act as a node for the weird powers for any Delaque within 12 inches.
Yeah. So he's basically the worm, but for anybody.
Yep. He's got part of the crew, so he always shows up, which is rare for a hanger-on.
Mm-hmm.
He also has the evade skill, which is a -1 to be hit with ranged if you're not in cover,
Mm-hmm.
or -2 at long range. And he comes with a fighting knife and either an autogun, last gun, or a shotgun. You probably want to use a shotgun because you're going to be up close.
Yeah.
At creation, you pick one of the main 6 houses for the origin of this thrall, and enemy fighters from that house get -2 to leadership and willpower while they're within 6 inches of the thrall. Everyone else gets -1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. And it tells you you're supposed to model this as a ganger from another house.
Yeah, you've basically taken them over, and they are your slave.
It's not a bad way to increase the range of your weird powers. It's more reliable than the choir.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's got ballistic skill 5, but with a shotgun, you can get lucky.
Yeah, you can get lucky. I would probably rather do the las gun just because it has the short range out to 18 inches.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to hit with.
See, my problem is I don't think he ever wants to be at outside of 18 inches because if his whole point is to be a thrall that is getting within the Psychoteric Whispers range.
If he can't do that or it's not useful, I feel like
That's
the
fair.
las gun would be better than the shotgun. But it's, any of them are reasonable.
That's not what you're using him for.
Yeah.
He's decent. It's a hard pick because he is 90 credits.
He has 90 credits. He takes up a hanger-on slot.
Especially for what we're about to talk about for the same 90 credits.
Well, the issue is that being a part of the crew hanger-on has some downsides in that if you take an injury, you could just leave.
Yeah, anytime a hanger-on cannot never get advancements, and if they take anything that would change their fighter profile in any way, they just bail.
Yeah. Rather than being a brute, which, takes its injuries, takes its upgrades, all that
and
stuff.
Since this guy is supposed to kind of be danger close, he's going to be in the line of fire.
Yeah, and for 90 credits, that's a lot to potentially just lose.
Yeah.
Next is the Spiker. Also 90 credits. Oh boy. Has a movement of 6, weapon skill and ballistic skill of 6+, a strength and toughness of 3, 2 wounds, a 3-up initiative, 1 attack, 5 on cool and leadership, and 4 on willpower, and 6 on intelligence.
Best in the game.
It was pretty good. It has flight, part of the crew, just the same as the last one. Is a non-sanctioned psyker and has 3 powers, and it can't ever get any more because it's a hanger-on.
Right.
The first of the psychic powers is Psychic Scream. It's a basic action. Make a nerve test. Everything. Oh, is it everything within 6? Make a nerve test.
No enemies.
Oh, well, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was an aura or a target.
Oh, it's no, it's only 3 inches around him.
Okay. At -1, and if failed, they are broken and run for cover. So it's the thing from Dark Tide where it goes. That one's fine. It's good for up close. Psychic Assault is the next one. It is also basic. Pick any enemy fighter within 18 inches. They make a willpower test. If they pass, they are pinned. If they fail, they lose a wound and are pinned. That's really good.
Yeah, this is an auto-pinning power that does not require line of sight and has 18-inch range.
It's basically a shot that is, you need a 4 up on 2d6 to pass. That's really good.
Yeah.
And no line of sight.
And no line of sight, 18 inches. If they pass the willpower check, they're still pinned.
Yeah.
And that's all you need. If they fail, they take a wound without armor safes.
Does he also get the choir?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't believe so. I actually have to check. I don't know because they're not Psychoteric Whispers.
Oh, okay.
They're just powers.
Right. You're right.
This is the reason to take this guy.
Yeah.
It has varying usefulness because, against Van Sar, maybe not as useful, although it can still be annoying. But against something like Corpse Grinder Cults or Goliath, this guy is worth his weight in gold.
Agreed.
And you should absolutely prioritize bringing him. If you are having trouble with low willpower, or no, if you're having trouble with melee,
yeah,
you just flatten.
Yeah, and it's a basic action too. So you can move in to do that. You can do it and then back up. You can do it and then do something else.
You could do it and then you'll know what, you don't have a gun.
You don't have a gun. And the last ability is Force Blast, which is kind of the get away from me. Shove all enemies within 3 inches, D3 plus 1 inches away.
They can take damage if they hit something. It doesn't matter. You're never going to use this. You're just going to use Psychic Assault.
So
over and over again.
I could see if someone like runs at you and you're like, meh. But that's about it.
It's the hand thing from the end of Kung Fu Hustle. Just
Yeah. In the before we talk about the next one, in the Apocrypha, they do have an alternate psychic tree. Don't take that one. It's very bad.
No, it's very... It's not even that it's necessarily bad, because it is flavorful, but it doesn't have Psychic Assault, and Psychic Assault is so good.
So the offensive one in that says make a shooting attack against your opponent.
Yeah.
This thing has a 6-up ballistic skill. You guys did not think when you wrote that, did you?
Nope.
Anyway, the power is very good.
And then the last hanger-on, this one is not only available to Delaque, but they did get it for half cost. It's the Whisper Merchant.
And getting it at half cost is stupidly good.
So, for 60 credits, the normal cost, this is one of the best in the game. For 30 credits, the Delaque cost, this is the best hanger-on in the entire game, bar none, for my money. So good, in fact, that, spoiler for the end, this is the only time I have put a hanger-on in my starting list.
That's impressive.
He's 30 credits. He has a hanger-on. He has bad stats, and that does not matter. He doesn't have always part of the crew. If he does end up in your crew, just hide.
Yeah.
Put him in a box.
Pin yourself
Put the box
in a
into the
corner.
box. Mail that box to somebody, and then smash it with a hat. Wait. So during each pre- and post-battle sequence, and you can do both, you can choose to auto-roll a 6-4 scenario, choosing crews if it's random, rewards from the scenario or the territory, and for the trading post. Now you can only do 6 in each one. So you could do, for example, roll 6 for the scenario, and you could then roll 6 for the trading post on one of your 2 dice.
But you couldn't do scenario and crew because they're both in the pre-battle.
You can do it once for each pre-battle.
Yeah.
You can do this 6 times, and then you need to either pay the hiring fee again. Oh no.
Yeah, 30 whole credits.
Or you lose the Whisper Merchant. This can, if you're worried about credits, this pays for itself almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because, my settlement, for which I roll D6 times 10 credits. Well,
I rolled a 6. Weird.
There you go. And I paid for my Whisper Merchant. Cha-ching, and I still got 5 uses less. All right. But even not that. This can stop you from getting screwed on random crew. This can stop you from playing scenarios you don't want to play.
True.
This can make it so that you can get that nice trading pool post-roll you want. This is one of the best hanger-ons in the game. Hangers-on in the game. Absolutely worth getting it. I would say you get this even before you get a Rogue Dock.
That's impressive. I think for Delaque, that is true.
For Delaque.
For everybody else, it's up in the air.
Depends on your situation and what you're
But for Delaque, at only 30 credits?
Yes. So, yeah, he's available to everybody. Everyone should look into him. But Delaque, get this guy.
Yeah, agreed.
And then they only have the one brute. But boy, what a brute he is.
I feel like I'm going to pronounce that wrong. We're going to have to censor me.
It's the Piscian Spectre.
You mean the...
Well, just use what I put in all caps.
No! I've never played Splatoon.
You're a now. You are a squid now. And boy, what a squid you are.
This thing, in addition to the Noctghoul, is the other absolutely terrifying thing in this
thing
section.
slaps because it has a lot of tentacles.
Only movement 5. Weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds, 4 attacks, 3-up initiative, 7 intelligence, 6 willpower, 7 leadership, 6 willpower, 6 cool, 8 intelligence. Has fearsome, which means charging it.
Will have to take a willpower check to charge it.
Yep. And has ferocity as a primary, which is a very good skill tree.
Yep.
And has the paired psychomantic clause, just like a Psygeist. The difference being this has 4 base attacks. So it goes to 8 plus dual wielding plus charge.
What? Set your squid to blend and throw him at the enemy. And so 5 base movement doesn't seem that much until you remember that paired psychomantic clause has 3-inch versatile.
Yeah.
He also comes with, because this wasn't enough, light carapace armor for a 4-up armor. And if you want to, you can spend 30 credits to make him a psyker. Oh, he's got fly.
Yeah. He's ridiculous. I mean, he's 205 credits. He's expensive.
Yes.
He's more than, well, technically he's less than a big boy.
Ambot?
Ambot.
Yeah, Ambot's 215.
Yeah, technically less, but dear God. This thing with flying will get there. The only problem I have ever seen with this guy is the base he sits on.
Yes, he is large.
He is large, and he's on a flying stand, which means that
he is hard to hide.
Yep.
In Necromunda, it's very big, but this thing is terrifying.
Yep.
With 10 attacks, it doesn't matter that you're only strength +1, so you're only strength 5.
Yeah.
But you've got 10 attacks with shock and phase.
Yeah.
Some of those will get through and do damage.
And this is a brute, so you can upgrade your strength if you want to. Go up to 6.
Or your weapon skill, or give him, true grit, or something else from ferocity, just to make him really annoying. The only question of hiring a Piscian Spectre is, do you want to make him a Psyker or not? And I say no.
It depends on if you want to do something weird with him. He is a willpower 6, which is better than the Psygeist. But
the bar is low.
But if any turn you're not charging with him is a wasted turn.
If you're within 3 inches of a first off, in the Psychomantic Choir or Psychoteric Choir, do you think this guy sings bass?
Yes. No, he's treble. I don't know.
Countertenor.
Showing your wrist a little bit there.
Yeah. No, so the only problem is if you're within Psychoteric Whispers range, because remember, it's Psychoteric Whispers, not a normal weird.
Yeah.
It does make him a Psyker, so you could pick Psychoteric Whisper and then make an upgrade to then pick one of the actual other ones.
I guess. So the only one that I could see being useful on him is the one that's 12 inches, they become pinned.
Yes.
Because he can't do that normally. If you can't charge something, you might as well pin it.
Right.
That's the only one that I could see might be useful.
But with 12 inches... Yeah, I guess if they're at 12 inches, you can't technically get to them because 5 inches plus if you rolled a 3 for D3, you'd charge 8 inches and have 3-inch versatile.
Yep.
That's only 11.
Well, and that means you can move 5 and still do it. So it's a 17-inch threat.
Yes, you could. I could see that being useful. I don't know if I'd want to spend the 30 credits.
Yeah.
Because 205 credits is a great deal, but it's still expensive.
It's
still a commitment. So I don't know. I don't see this guy as a Psyker necessarily, especially because it also makes him even more attractive to kill.
True. Oh yeah, he becomes a
unsanctioned Psyker, right? Yeah. Because then he gets he's D3 times 10 credits just for putting him down.
Yeah.
That being said, this guy's really good. He's also the only brute that comes in a box with other models.
Yes.
He comes in the same box as the Noctghouls and Psygeists, making that one of the best value boxes they have.
True.
And until the Vansar Ash Waste rigs was one of the only plastic brutes, I think.
I believe so. Well, no, because the Ogren and the
the plastic house brutes.
House brutes, yes.
Making him and it's also a great model.
Yeah. I was gonna say one of the benefits is it's not Forge World.
Yeah, it's not Forge World resin, and I can only imagine putting that thing together with Forge World and the tentacles just snapping everywhere. Unique equipment. Not a lot of unique equipment for Delaque.
No,
we already talked about the swords. We already talked about web weapons. They aren't unique to Delaque, but they give them at a discount.
Mm-hmm. The only other one is the Flechette pistol, which is just an auto pistol with silent toxin. For double the credits? No, it's more than double.
It's 6 times the credits in Delaque because Delaque
Delaque
auto pistols for 5 credits, which, by the way, makes auto pistols very good.
Oh, yeah, ridiculously.
I almost always would take them over stub guns just for the potential, even though stub guns are still more accurate. No, it's a auto pistol that has silent and it has a toxin profile for 30 credits.
Sure.
No.
not for 30.
They also have the web gauntlet, which we talked about.
Yeah, we talked about all the other weapons.
The train, the things we forgot to do with Qatar, because nobody cares about these, but there's some funny ones here.
First is the Whisper Box,
which is literally those things you can buy that make beeping noises that you can put in around places to annoy people because you're a monster. It's that. That's literally what it is.
Does it cost you 60 credits?
In real life, I don't know. I'm not a monster. I've never bought one.
You place it outside your opponent's deployment zone, and they get a -1 modifier to their cool while within 8 of it.
Because it's just annoying. It's an annoying whisper. That's what it is. It's so dumb. The Sight Blind Trap is a little better. It's only 40 credits. It's basically a photon flash grenade trap.
Yeah.
Which photon flash grenades, remember, they make an initiative check, and if they fail, they lose their ready marker.
Yep.
Or they don't, or rather in this case, because they set one off.
Yeah.
They don't get one
next turn.
Next one. Yeah. That's okay.
It's all right. It's not a bad waste of 40 credits if you have some extras.
Yeah.
The Shadow Veil. Yes. I had something to mention on this. The Shadow Veil is 50 credits. It has a 3-inch bubble of pitch black. which does in fact block line of sight, and it's essentially a smoke grenade that you get to place rather than shooting randomly.
And doesn't go away until you shoot it.
And doesn't go away, and it's toughness 4 and 1 wound, so they have to get to it because they can't shoot it because it's in pitch black. Right. The thing I wanted to mention is there is a psychic power in the darkness tree that also says an aura of pitch black, but it's all of your opponents are in pitch black.
Yes.
And it calls out specifically that it does not generate an aura like this does.
Yes.
And it would be way better if it did.
It's still really bad because it's only like 3 inches around you.
Yeah.
So opponent is only in pitch black as if they're within 3 inches of you.
Which lets them see you because they're in pitch black.
Or something like that. Yeah. It's so dumb.
This one's not terrible.
No, and you can see through it with infrared goggles.
Yeah,
or,
so
photo goggles.
You can kind of make it to your advantage if you bring it. Your opponent can't see through it. You can. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's basically like a pre-placed smoke grenade.
Yeah.
Which I could see being very useful.
Yeah, I agree.
Web trap. It's 80 credits, but it's a 5-inch radius web trap.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty nasty. Like, remember, traps are mostly psychological, right? It's like telling opponents, okay, because you put down random markers and, like, 2 of them are duds and one of them is the actual trap. So your opponent doesn't actually know where the real trap is.
Right.
Putting one down and going, yeah, you might just get webbed.
Which has a 1 in 6 chance to take you out if nothing else.
Right. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And 5-inch radius on webbed is terrifying. The only thing is that for some reason, it's 80 credits, which is expensive as much as a web pistol. Also, it has AP too, which doesn't actually do anything
because AP web ignores armor.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the grav gun having AP, despite specifically saying it ignores armor.
Yeah.
But yeah, web trap 80 credits is a little much, but it is good.
Yeah,
it's one of the better traps. The Euclidean, thank you. Euclidean artifact for 90 credits is your gang relic, so it gives you +2 to your cool while you're near it, and grants full cover within 6 inches of it, which is
one of the more useful gang relics we've talked about.
One of the better gang relics. I still think it's unfortunate we didn't talk about the Cawdor one because I think the Cawdor one's the best one.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and do that.
So
let's talk Delaque.
Yeah.
Delaque are weird. They occupy a strange place in Necromunda. Because they are the gang that does not play fair.
Yeah.
If you just play Delaque as I'm going to shoot you, you lose. Because you're shooting, you have great special weapons, but you don't have, outside of infiltrate, you don't have mobility tools.
Right.
You don't have defensive tools, like, at all. You only have shenanigans. And like the Psychoteric Whispers is a decent skill. It's just very short range.
It is.
Delaque in general are a short range gang, right? Like they need to get in close and do things. So you have a double-sided coin here, where on the flip side, Delaque have a reputation as one of the weaker ones. This is partially true because they certainly are not a Goliath where you just autopilot, run forward, and punch things, right? The flip side of that is that if you're good with Delaque, it can feel unfair to your opponent because the things that they do to win are things that do not allow or rather seem like they don't allow counterplay. Infiltrate's a great example.
Yeah.
Infiltrate can feel very oppressive to somebody who is new or in certain gang scenarios.
Right.
The reality is Infiltrate's not actually, it's certainly not broken.
No,
not anymore. In pre-2018 Necromunda, it had problems.
Very good.
But nowadays, Infiltrate can be much more easily shut down by just careful placement of your own models to make sure your opponent doesn't have a good spot to infiltrate. Like that keeps happening every time we play. It's like, I've got an Infiltrate model. Okay, where are you going to put it? In my own deployment zone because you made sure I couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that they've especially made it so that you get a -1 to hit if you're charging something that you can't see, that also kind of reduces the efficacy of like the infiltrating not ghoul who pops up around a corner and just goes, wah!
Yeah, charges around a corner, immediately murders something.
Right. -1 is not a huge detriment, but it is still there.
Yeah.
And that last time I faced a not ghoul, I got charged by one. He didn't kill me because he charged around a corner, and then he got punched in the face by a hive scum with a flail and died.
See, that's the reason to take the +1 to hit weapon, is you can charge around a corner with no downside.
There you go.
There you go.
So with Delaque, you have to remember that all of the gangs have these advantages that seem insurmountable.
Right.
That's the point of Necromunda. Escher toxins just ignore your wounds. You have a 3-wound leader. Great. I don't care.
Yeah.
Gas ignores your armor saves. Goliath strength and toughness 4 at the start of a campaign is BS to fight, right? Caldor templates. Like, all of the gangs have something that is a little bullcrap.
Yep.
You just have to understand that with Delaque and play into it. Like, you have to play into the sneaky shenanigans.
Yeah. It's just harder to see with Delaque, I feel, because it's so, I don't want to say subtle, but like the fact that a lot of their stuff is either outside of game or like before the game starts, I'll take advantage of some reason. They don't do the stuff that the other gangs do as well as they do, but they can kind of catch up with some of their mechanics.
They do things other gangs cannot do at all.
Yeah.
Whisper Merchant being a great example. Like, they're not the only ones with it, but 30 credits makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
The Spectre, the Piscian Spectre, has 10 flippin' attacks.
Yep. With flight and range melee.
But there's nothing that stops it from getting shot off the table.
No.
Or you charge it, and it just dies. Like, it's everything in here is glass cannon as heck.
Yeah.
Web guns are probably the biggest example, the things that people have a lot of problem with.
Yeah.
And we're not immune to this, because web guns do feel a little bullcrap.
Yeah.
But web guns, for starters, they're only template, so they're super short range. And Web Solvent, man.
Yep.
Web Solvent's really good.
I feel like, 10 credits?
I think it's 15 or something. We could look it up. I'm not going to.
Yeah, fair.
Web Solvent it might be 25. Web Solvent is not expensive and really ruins the day. And 25 credits for every single guy is a lot.
It's 25 credits. I'm not buying it.
But putting 25 credits on your leaders,
yeah,
to keep them web free,
leaders and champions.
Like, you will ruin the day of a web user with that.
Spider-Man.
So just keep in mind, if you're the one fighting as Delaque, you need to leverage the things that are not just straight up stat shooting, because you'll lose.
Right.
If you're fighting against Delaque, keep in mind that's all they got, and that not being fair is a little bit a part of the game. That seems mean to say, but in this Delaque case,
everybody is a little bit not fair. Delaque is a lot not fair.
Yeah. Otherwise, for Delaque players, the way to play Delaque is priority target removal.
Yes.
You cannot do the thing where you just beat their gang into submission. You need to remove their power pieces. Your Noctgul is I've heard it referred to as a guided missile.
Sure.
You put him down and goes, and
it's a scalpel.
The Noctgul knows where it is.
It's a scalpel. It'll go in, it'll take care of a thing, and then hopefully that thing is the thing that could kill your Noctgul and it won't die anymore. Very
often what I've found is that the Noctgul takes care of one thing and then dies.
Yeah.
He gets murdered because they're
definitely
not
seen that
happen.
Yeah, you don't have the numbers like Caldor does. You don't have the shooting like Vansar does. You don't have the stats like Goliath does. You have to think about your plays and how to, which is one of the reasons we set them so low on our starting gangs.
Yes.
They are cool. They are interesting, but they take a lot of thought in order to not just get dog walked every single game.
Yes. Bite the curb, ball boy. So we do have a sample list that I put together. You said Delaque are boring before we started this. I could not disagree more.
I feel like they have their mediocre psychic powers, their web weapons, and then I don't care about anything else.
See, I feel like they have their mediocre psychic powers, their web weapons, their great special weapons, some really fun melee tools, a really cool exotic beast. Or I said exotic beast, brute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next to Caldor, they might seem a little feature dry. I will say that. So, my starter list that I put together. So I've got a Master Shadow. I gave him Infiltrate and a Web Gun because I'm a monster, and Mesh Armor and Armored Undersuit. So the idea for him is that I also have a Noctgul next with Spring Up, because that's what you put on a Noctgul. Yep. I gave him Serpent's Fangs, Mesh Armor, and Armored Undersuit. So my idea is that these two operate as a power pair. They infiltrate to roughly the same spot. The Noctgul is your guided missile, but your leader is there with a web gun to stop your opponent from very easily retaliating or just focus firing him.
Yeah.
The idea is your opponent can't just stand out in the corner to get a good shot, because if he does, he gets web gunned. That's the plan.
The only real downside is starting at 1,000 credits. That's 495 of it in 2 models.
Yes, it is. Which is why my Phantom, my other champion, just has Overwatch and a long rifle with mesh armor.
That's fair.
He operates as a power pair with my specialist, who has mesh armor and a long rifle. And will probably eventually be getting Overwatch.
Yeah.
Or Infiltrate. The idea is that he is in the back. If it's a Sector Mechanicus, he's somebody who can like maintain the sight lines and kind of disrupt with Overwatch. The other guy having the long rifle even without Overwatch is so he can be nearby for the sake of helping with injuries in case one of them goes down, because Overwatch long rifle jerk is going to be a priority target.
Yes.
So having another guy there to either like be in front
Yeah.
or just there for injury. And then I've got 2 ghosts with shotguns because I really like shotguns.
Fair.
One of them has flat because I had 10 credits left over. Right. Shotguns I think are great because they're powerful to start. You want to be close with I said Goliath. You want to be close with Delaque anyway. Shotguns are powerful to start. They're strength 4, 0 AP, but 2 damage with their long range, which has a +1 between 8 and 16 inches, which in a lot of boards is close enough.
Yeah.
And then the scatter, of course, is the scatter at point blank range. Hail Mary.
Yeah.
But later you can give them the Exterminator or Executioner rounds, which are strength 4, AP 2, 2 damage, and have like a +2 up to 16 inches, which is really good.
Yeah. You basically went with a lot of stuff that's like upgradable later. Here is the plan. Here is how I upgrade.
Because then I have,
which is how you should work with the lock.
I've got 2 more. My last 2 are 2 ghosts with lasguns. Because sometimes you can't fight within shotgun range, and Sector Mechanicus games are a thing. And lasguns are upgradable. You can give them hotshot packs for that strength 4, AP 1 juiciness.
Exactly.
And then I, last but not least, have a Whisper Merchant because the Whisper Merchant is so good. Remember, you start with 1 reputation. The Whisper Merchant is so good that for 30 credits, I believe he is worth taking off the bat so that your very first mission, you can make sure you get a mission you want to play, a scenario you want to play, and not screwed on deployment or not screwed on your trading post rolls or your settlement rolls or something.
Early in the game, I believe almost every single one of my Whisper Merchant rolls would be on credits.
Yeah. Well, I could see it, but like if you like your very first mission was one where your opponent just has an insurmountable advantage, like you're facing Corpse Grinder cults in Zone Mortalis because they got to pick it.
Yeah.
I can see going, nope.
How about instead?
How about I change that to a 6 and I get to pick?
Yeah.
Okay. But either way,
yeah.
You could do both. That's the wonderful thing about them. So that's my starting list. It's mostly buildable with 1 box. I think there might not be enough shotguns and lasguns or not enough long rifles in that initial box. You might have to get the upgrade sprue.
So because of the way that the Necromunda boxes are built, it's always the same sprue twice.
Yes.
So you will have at least 2 lasguns, 2 shotguns, all that stuff, as long as they're in the box to start with.
I don't remember if they're in the box to start with or not.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible person. I'd already had the upgrade kit, so.
Fair. The long rifle is a maybe. And obviously, you're going to need the Noctical box anyway.
Yes.
So you're going to get an extra box.
Yes. Anyway. Yeah. And the long rifle was a budget option. Eventually, I will probably upgrade that to something else.
Sure.
Like I might give, you can give a plasma gun.
Yeah.
To that guy or a better pistol. None of my ghosts, except for one, have any armor, so they're all starting off.
Definitely gonna upgrade those.
Very disposable. But that's because if they die, I get their shotgun anyway. And I don't care. Yeah. So that's my first priority. Would be giving mesh armor to those other folks. Maybe changing the long rifle to a mastercrafted long rifle for the Phantom.
Sure, I can see that. So I did not make a crew, but I'll base off yours a little bit. I would also take a Nox Ghoul with Spring Up and with Serpent Sphinx. I was gonna say I would do the sword, but that's not true. I would do Serpent Sphinx.
6 attacks.
6 attacks. Mesh undersuit, perfect for an up close monster like that.
And he will be targeted, so you will need it.
I would probably swap the Master of Shadow and the Phantom for their rolls. Keep the Master of Shadow in the back with the Overwatch and long rifle, and then put the Phantom a little more up close with maybe a psychic power.
So he's a little cheaper.
Yeah, a little bit cheaper.
I that is definitely a thing. I don't. Looking at it now, I'm not sure particularly why I decided to do the Master of Shadow as the one who's also going in.
They're pretty exchangeable.
I could also see swapping them out and then making the Master Shadow sit in back with a long rifle instead of Overwatch, giving him a leadership talent, like Iron Will, where he just makes everybody harder to run away.
Fair. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys to start with. It's pretty good. But yeah, other than that, you're pretty right on the money. I might take something different for Specialist, but Specialist to start with is always difficult because
it's very hard to take a kitted out Noctghoul and either Master of Shadow. It's hard to take a kitted out Noctghoul and a web gun, and then give a Specialist a good special weapon.
Yeah,
that's why I was saying that his upgrade might be a Melt-A-Gun or a plasma gun or a grab gun, something to crack armor later in the campaign.
I do like grab guns.
Yeah, just to start though, he's got a long rifle and he's annoying.
Yeah, fair.
Because he's got +1 to hit, but even if it doesn't kill you, he's going to knock you down and just be irritating.
True.
And then the ghosts, if they die, they die. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
You'll notice there are no shadows in this one. If you wanted to bulk your list up, you could replace each of these ghosts with a shadow, and that would let you, I believe, get 2 more shadows. So you could make it to 10 models if you wanted to.
Sure.
Depending on what you're playing and what campaign you're playing.
Yeah, just give them an auto pistol and a dagger or something like that and call it good.
That's the problem with shadows, is that their cheapest weapon, melee weapon, is like 20 credits.
Yeah.
It's a stiletto knife.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Not even a fighting knife?
No.
That's crazy.
I
mean, stiletto knives are good.
They're fine, but they're expensive.
They are expensive.
You can't just give them like a 10 credit or 15 credit knife. You have to give them you can give them a 5 credit auto pistol, but it feels like they pay for that.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, it almost feels like I'd rather just give them the extra 15 credits for a web gauntlet and have them be annoying.
Fair.
I've also seen folks take shadows and put web pistols on them because it doesn't care about their 5-up ballistic skill.
That's true.
And that is a very valid point.
Yeah.
I might explore that later. So we already kind of talked about our ending thoughts for Delaque.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas basically they are hard to play, but you have to play them hard.
Yep.
Like you have to kind of go in on shenanigans here.
Yeah.
You just kind of try and play and we talk a lot about not being a jerk in Necromunda. You have to be a jerk when playing Delaque.
Yeah, basically. Which is unfortunate, but yeah, basically.
But there is being a jerk. Being a fun antagonist is a thing, right? And
be a fun jerk.
Yeah, yeah. There's a difference between capturing people and then capturing them and executing them for no credits just to be rude.
Dang, you found my plan.
I
am planning on doing Delaque with Slanesh corrupted in my when I eventually play them, but
see, my next Delaque project is I found a bunch of 3D prints for like 1940s PI hats, so I just want to make Noir Delaque.
No real reason.
no. Oh, so they got the coats already.
I guess.
It's a dark night in Hive City when trouble walked in. Trouble with a great pair of legs.
Enter Spectre.
That's what I got. This is Squid.
Also, in a hat.
That's the other thing I'm looking forward to is putting that hat on top of the Piskin Inspector. I said this after Cawdor. Cawdor was a gang I did not know very well, and looking into them made me want to play them. Looking into Delaque makes me want to play them as well.
That's interesting.
In a way that I never wanted to before.
See, I kind of wanted to play them, and I'm about in the same boat. This didn't make me want to play them more.
Okay. This did really make me want to look into them.
Yeah.
But that brings us to what is our next deep dive gang gonna be? I know the answer because I thought about it already, but what do you think, Mitchell? Choose wisely.
I think it's gonna be the Popo.
That's right. The sirens are blaring. Lord Helmar has heard us talking about all of these gangs and has decided to put a stop to it by sending his enforcers. So the next gang we talk about will be the Pal Knight Enforcers. It's going to be a weird episode because they're kind of 2 gangs in one, in a bit like Cawdor.
But not
in the same way.
Exactly like Cawdor,
no.
Because you can't mix and match.
Basically, there is one gang, and then they released a Bad Zones Enforcers in an Apocrypha. Or in a White Dwarf.
Instead of just like having new rules, they're like, yeah, you can use that too if you want to. Yeah.
Yes. We'll be talking about them both. They may or may not be in the same video. I'll let you know.
Yeah, fair.
But keep your eyes on this space. That's it from us this time. Let us know if we missed anything below. We haven't had a video yet where we haven't missed at least one thing.
Thanks for keeping us
honest.
honest.
We do always appreciate the comments because Necromunda does a lot.
Except for that one guy. You know who you are.
That's me in my old account.
Oh, yeah, it's you. Forgot.
See you next time.
Bye. And we could do the ASMR. This is your psychic whisper.
We could also not. I hate all of you.